A couple of days ago, I put out a video about a man by the name of Dan Rivera. Now, if you don't know who Dan Rivera is, he is a popular paranormal investigator. He's been part of these paranormal investigations for years. You've probably seen him on different haunted ghost shows on the Travel Channel, Discovery, and stuff like that. Well, recently, Dan Rivera and others thought it was a good idea to take the haunted demonic Annabelle doll on a tour of the United States. Basically, taking this haunted doll, or a doll that is supposedly haunted, taking this doll on tour to several different states and cities so people can see the doll, and they sit down and they talk about the doll's history and what have you. Well, while on tour with the Annabelle doll, everywhere they went, there was kind of weird things happening. And this is not me just making up stuff. The news has reported on this over the last couple of months. Every stop they make with the Annabelle doll, something crazy happens in the news in that area. Now, I'm not saying that the crazy stuff that is happening is any way tied to Annabelle. It's just a weird coincidence. Well, now, another weird coincidence has happened. Dan Rivera was found dead in his hotel room while on tour with this doll. Now, of course, everyone is looking at this and they're weirded out. They're creeped out, naturally so. If you know about the history of the Annabelle doll, then you know why people are creeped out. Supposedly, there are other deaths tied to this doll. Tragic events and hauntings and what have you tied to this doll. And Dan Rivera himself is one of the people who would carry on these legends and stories and tell people about the history of this doll. And then suddenly, no warning, we didn't know anything about him having any health problems. He leaves behind a wife and kids. Suddenly, no one knows what happens. There's no signs of foul play or anything like that. He just gets found dead in his hotel room. And like I said, a lot of people got weirded out. People put out videos. People have been discussing this for the last couple of days. But now Dan Rivera's friends are speaking out. And they are very angry and upset that people are tying Dan's death to the Annabelle doll. Now, if you guys saw my video, you know that multiple times in my video, I stated that we don't know his cause of death. And I said multiple times that I'm sure that his death has nothing to do with the haunted Annabelle doll. It's just weird that while he's on tour with the doll, he just mysteriously dies. Well, apparently his friends are really upset that people are saying things like this. And I get it. I get it. This is your friend. I and others, we didn't know him personally. I get it. When you see the outside world speaking on your friend's death, you get kind of sensitive, you get kind of angry and protective. I understand. But they're coming out and they're attacking people, calling them crazy conspiracy theorists. They're accusing people of spreading outlandish stuff simply because some people are suggesting that maybe in some way Dan's death is tied to this haunted doll. Now, this is where I personally have a problem, because I think that Dan's friends are being complete and total hypocrites right now, because they're attacking people and they're angry at people who are discussing the possibilities of Dan's death being related to the Annabelle doll. They're acting like it's crazy for anyone to think that. It's crazy for anyone to suggest that, right? Meanwhile, these are the same exact people who are on tour with this doll, taking this doll all around America, telling people how haunted and demonic it is, telling people stories about other people dying because they came in contact with the doll, keeping up, the legend of Annabelle. And isn't that ironic? Isn't that hypocritical, though, as well? How dare you? It's outlandish. It's crazy, you would say, that Dan's death has anything to do with Annabelle. Meanwhile, hey, we want you to come see the Annabelle doll on tour so we can tell you about all of the deaths linked to Annabelle. Please give us some money so you can come see the doll in person. It don't work like that, folks. Sorry. I feel bad that this dude died. I feel bad for his family, but I don't like hypocrites. And I'm not going to watch the same people who spread all of this haunted stuff. Y'all are in charge of the ghost adventures and the haunted shows. You all explore the supernatural. You all put out conspiracy theories like this all the time. And now you're mad because people are looking at the fact that Dan mysteriously died while on tour with the doll, and they're tying it to the doll? How many deaths have y'all tied to the doll? How many stories have y'all tied to the doll? But now you're mad because people are looking and feeling like it's weird that Dan mysteriously, randomly dies while on tour with it? And you're calling people crazy for simply questioning or even bringing up the fact that he was on tour with the doll? Meanwhile, during the tour, you're telling people about other people who died, who came in contact with the doll. None of it makes sense. It's all hypocritical. It's all completely hypocritical. But now, the coroner has had to come out, and the coroner has stated that the doll was not in the same room with Dan when Dan died. Now, as a coroner, you see a lot of stuff, right? I would assume that a coroner sees a lot of stuff that most of us don't want to see. They've seen it all. You can't even begin to imagine the type of stuff they're exposed to. But I guarantee you this was a first for this coroner. Sure, you may have seen dead bodies in 1,000 different ways, but I guarantee you, you never had to come out and publicly make a statement that a haunted demonic doll was not found in the same room as this body. So yeah, that's kind of weird and wild to see as well, but for the life of me, I don't understand. It's like these people have no self-awareness. They're out here attacking people saying it's so crazy, it's so outlandish, how dare you say stuff like this? They're saying stuff like this because of the stuff that you all have told people about Annabelle. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Let's go ahead and dive into this article though. Because like I said, they've made a few comments kind of upset about this situation, and I don't feel like they have the right to be upset here. Paranormal investigator Dan Rivera's friends rip trolls linking his death to haunted Annabelle doll. Friends of paranormal investigator Dan Rivera have slammed trolls linking his death to a haunted Annabelle doll with which he was on tour, as it was announced that the pre-planned shows will go ahead. Rivera, age 54, died suddenly on Sunday at a hotel in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, hours after finishing a 3-day run of his Devils on the Run tour with the Raggedy Ann doll Annabelle. State police say that nothing unusual or suspicious was observed at the scene, but that has not stopped people from linking it with the doll and rumors that it's cursed. This needs to stop, Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters star Jason Hawes wrote on Facebook. His family shouldn't have to read that kind of nonsense while they're grieving. Honor the man. Forget that garbage. I gotta pause right there. His family shouldn't be seeing this nonsense that people are saying. Dan Rivera made a career of going on TV shows, going online, going on tour, talking about hauntings, talking about ghosts, talking about possessions, talking about the freaking Annabelle doll. That was like the main attraction. How do you think other families feel when you tie their loved ones' deaths to the Annabelle doll? You know what I mean? Let's ask that question. I don't see how these people could be so hypocritical and lack this much self-awareness. You got a TV show on Sci-Fi called Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures or whatever, where you literally go around making noises around a house telling people it's ghost. And now you're mad because your audience is looking at this like, wait, holy cow, this guy died on tour with Annabelle. It's crazy. How dare you guys spread this kind of garbage? Meanwhile, hey, we're at this haunted museum and we're going to have the, you know what I mean? They're walking around like the Ghostbusters on their TV show, reading their spirit meters. Oh my God, I feel a chill. Something just touched me. On their haunted shows, and then they call other people garbage for thinking that, hey, it's kind of weird that Dan died on tour with Annabelle. His family shouldn't have to see this. His family every day would watch him go on the ghost shows and talk about other people dying and being haunted and what have you. And I believe in some supernatural stuff, but a lot of that stuff on these shows is totally bogus, fake garbage. Yet they're accusing everyone else of spreading garbage. It's weird. Let's hop right back in. So he says his family shouldn't have to read that kind of nonsense while they're grieving. Forget the garbage. He also says, recently the world lost a good man. Dan Rivera was an Army veteran, a father of 4, a husband, and someone who truly cared about people. The New England Society for Psychic Research, meanwhile, announced that the tour would continue after the sudden death of its chief investigator. We believe with all our hearts that Dan would have wanted the work to continue, bringing people together, sharing knowledge, and honoring the memory of Ed and Lorraine Warren. We will carry his spirit in everything we do. Yeah, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will carry his spirit in everything you do. So apparently Dan dying is not enough to stop the show. They want to come out and call everyone garbage and disgusting for talking about, that his death may have something to do with Annabelle. Meanwhile, they want to continue the Annabelle tour, where they go on tour, convince everyone to pay money to be around this haunted doll, while they tell them ghost stories and demonic, stories about the doll. This literally makes no sense. Dan died. You guys are disgusting for saying it has something to do with Annabelle. Anyways, tomorrow, come to our Annabelle tour, where we talk about other people who died who came in contact with Annabelle. All I'm saying is it's ironic. You took this doll on tour. You sold tickets so you could tell people about all of the mystery surrounding the doll. And then you become part of that mystery. And now it's, nothing to see here. This has nothing to do with anyone. You guys better stop. But can't even have the decency to stop the tour? It's that important. We got to keep going. Dan died while on tour with the doll. I guess we're not going to get the message. We're not going to get the obvious message that we were sent here. We're going to continue touring this doll, which, by the way, the original rule of Annabelle was not to move Annabelle. That was like one of the only rules. Do not move the doll. And I've seen them move the doll a hell of times. Dan himself was physically touching the doll out of its case. And look, I'm not even saying that I buy into a lot of that stuff. But hey, this is the stuff that y'all have been telling people. Y'all have been telling people that the doll is haunted. That people are dying when they come in contact with the doll. Meanwhile, you're in contact with a doll riding around America showing people, and now you randomly die. So yeah, it's a weird situation. What's even weirder to me, though, the fact that he died is not as weird as the fact that all of these ghost hunters are coming out mad that people are saying that it may have something to do with Annabelle. It's like people think this way because of y'all. What do you mean? I don't know. I don't get people these days. I just don't understand sometimes. The hypocrisy, the lack of self-awareness from everyone, it just doesn't make any sense. And it's not just with this story. It's with every story I cover. Every story I cover, it's like this. You have people that just are not self-aware at all. And I don't understand how they make it through life like this. And I want to be clear here. I'm not trying to attack or be mean to any of these people. I'm just being brutally honest. Because maybe they have yes men in their corner and they don't have anyone being honest with them. It's not a good look as a ghost hunter from sci-fi to come out and be mad when people make ghost stories about your coworker that died while on tour with a haunted doll that shouldn't have been moved or played around with in the first place. So yeah, Dan's death just adds to the legend of Annabelle, and unfortunately, his death will always be tied to Annabelle. That's just how these things go. And hey, maybe Dan wouldn't want it any other way, because at the end of the day, this is what he made his name doing. This is what he did for a living. Now his name will forever live on. If you mention Annabelle, you're going to mention Dan. And that's just the way it is. Not my fault. I didn't tell these people to take a haunted doll on tour. But for now, you guys let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell. And I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.